were in school, there were times when it was all you could do to keep from falling asleep. Sometimes the lesson content can be really boring for your students, even though it's critically important to what you're teaching. One thing we know from research on effective instruction is that student achievement is linked to their engagement during the lesson. The more engaged our students are when we're teaching, the more they'll understand and remember. And as a bonus, research shows that students who are engaged with instruction are less likely to be disruptive. What does it mean to say that students are engaged? To be sure, that's a difficult question. Sometimes it's so hard to tell because we all know it's possible for students to be looking right at you, even nodding as you speak, and yet not be hearing a word you say. Their body is there, but their mind is elsewhere. When students are at least looking in the direction of the teacher and not causing disruptions, we refer to this as passive engagement, or sometimes we say the student is on task. But we really don't know if the student is on task unless we see him or her interacting with a curriculum. Active engagement means that the students are actively taking part in the lesson. This activity can take many forms. The key is that the students are being asked to think and apply, even in very simple ways throughout the lesson. Can you tell from these pictures which students are actively engaged and which are passively engaged? While the passively engaged students might be attending, the actively engaged students are obviously engaging with the lesson in some physical manner. And it's this type of engagement that is highly predictive of achievement. When lessons are super exciting or interesting, students can be passively engaged in a meaningful manner. Unfortunately, not everything we teach has enough pizzazz to be exciting for everyone. In these cases, it's especially important to facilitate active engagement. Once it's time to practice, the students are, of course, actively engaged as they are required to complete tasks. But during the lesson, teachers can facilitate active engagement by giving students quick and frequent opportunities to respond, or what we call OTRs for short. An OTR is any teacher question or direction that allows the student to think about what is being taught and respond in some way using that line of thought. Teachers can provide OTRs in a number of simple ways. You can have students working with materials at their desk as part of a step-by-step instruction, or even have them raise colored cards in response to questions. But this is all done as part of the instruction, not as part of practice or assessment. OTRs are meant to engage the student during the introduction of key skills and concepts. Take a look at the following classroom and consider the degree to which students are actively and passively engaged. Be ready to discuss both of the teacher's use of OTRs and the student's engagement.
So the important thing about addition and subtraction is that you have to know the difference in the sign. Now, we learned about two different signs, but they're different, and so you have to remember that they're different. One is a minus and one's a plus, and they tell you different things to do. And so you have to make sure that you have them straight, otherwise addition and subtraction can be really hard.
Think about the lack of active engagement in this lesson. Do you ever have students looking like this in your classroom? Discuss with your group where the teacher missed opportunities to engage students. Which of the OTR strategies would be appropriate for you in this situation? And how would you have to alter them for your content and students? Now, take a look at this scenario and see if you can pick out all of the times the teacher gives their students an OTR.
All right, friends, take a look up here, please. Let me see your eyes. Thank you. So in math today, we're talking about symbols. And so what happens if I put this symbol there? What is that symbol called? Addison?
Minus sign.
It's a subtraction sign. And what does the subtraction sign mean? Kennedy?
If you have like a 3, you would put it in front of a 2 because 3 is the bigger number.
Okay, so it means take away. And so she says 3 take away 2 is 1. Use your counters to see if she's right. Is 3 take away 2, 1? How many do you have left? Addison,
That would be 1.
how do you know that? Can you show me your thinking?
Because you have 3, and then you take 2 away, and then that would give you 1.
1. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with Addison's thinking. What happens if I change this symbol to make it look like that? What does that mean? Brendan?
You'd be adding, not subtracting,
And so how would that change the sum?
because you'd be adding and subtracting is taking away, and adding is adding more.
Give me a thumbs up if you agree with Brendan's thinking. Excellent. Good job, guys.
Notice that the teacher used engagement to lead students through a review of new content. There will still need to be more practice, but OTR kept the students engaged throughout the less exciting part of the lesson. Discuss with your group how you've used OTR in the past and how your students have responded. Consider special ways in which you've had to develop OTR for your students in order to be successful and how you'd go about using OTR to increase engagement in your current classroom or classes. Between now and your next meeting, take some time to try using some new strategies for providing OTR in your classroom. Consider how well these strategies worked and be prepared to discuss with others what you learned, especially how you adapted these strategies for your students and content.